go with the mindset that you're the dumbest person and that you have a lot to learn from everybody around you. Even if you've been coaching, for 10 plus years and there's a new coach, there's something you can learn from them.
Welcome back to First Down presented by CoachTools. I'm your host, Justin Titchenell. Please feel free to leave this a 5-star review. It's super helpful for us as we continue to grow the podcast. And also be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Tana Vea is a senior recruiting director at Weber State University. He spent 10 years in the college game, and today Coach Vea and we spoke about the need for continuous learning and adaptability in coaching, in addition to the fact that coaches need to dive headfirst into their fears and weaknesses to get to that next level. So let's dive right into the content, and I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome thing you got going on, just hearing about it. So excited to see where this takes off.
Yeah, excited to talk to you about your experience as the recruiting director. And for the audience watching today, Coach Vea, he's been at Weber State for the past 4 seasons. So to kick things off, Coach Vea, can you just share with the audience about your background and how you've how the past 4 seasons at Weber State have gone?
Yeah, so a little bit about my background, from Utah, and I went to high school at Juan Diego Catholic High School, a little 3A school in Draper, Utah, and then walk on at Utah State, and then I went back to high school, and I coached there for 6 seasons, then got on at Weber State for the past 4 seasons. And it's been great. My first year up at Weber State, we won a Big Sky championship. Um, we won a playoff game. A very successful coaching staff. Coach Jay Hill, who I was there with for 3 seasons. He's now the defense coordinator at BYU. Great staff. This is like family. I love those guys. And it's just really been just like home for me with a lot of the coaching staff. They treat me like their own. So great kids, great staff. Can't say anything better than them. Won for the past 6 Big Sky championships as well. Big Sky, one of the premier conferences in the FCS level. FCS.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so tell me about that experience going from playing at Utah State to diving into being a coach. What was that like, that transition?
I've always wanted to be a coach. That's something when I was younger and all my friends all wanted to be professional football players. I have always wanted to be a coach. So I went into it with that mindset, even playing high school football. I'm like, okay, where are some things that I'm learning from here on how do I teach this later on? So I've always went with that mindset. So it kind of helped me transition into being a coach. It was very easy to do that.
Yeah, that's a unique perspective because a lot of times kids, when they're playing, they're like, oh, I want to go on to the next level. I want to be a pro player.
Yeah.
So what made you want to be a coach when you were still a player?
To be honest, I'm going to say NCAA. NCAA 2004, the one with Carson Palmer on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just always loved football, playing it, but I've always loved the schematics of, okay, the X's and O's. And so X's and O's was my biggest thing. But then when I jumped into football, coaching high school, I recognized real quick that X's and O's weren't the be all end all, and that relationships, that's what really transcends you as a coach and makes you find success.
Yeah, and we talk about this all the time on the podcast. What I've found is that you can find a lot of different great coaches that know their X's and O's and know how to draw up schemes and different plays. And I think what separates the good coaches from the great coaches, like you were just saying, is the guys that know how to make relationships and positively impact people outside of football.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen that firsthand. There's a saying that I first learned from the coach that when I first started coaching, it's lack of relationships, and you try and discipline somebody, it results in rebellion. I butchered it hardcore, but it'll come back to my mind later. But
no, I know what you mean. That makes sense, because if you're trying to reprimand a kid and they don't like you outside of football, I mean, it's going to be tough for them to trust you. And if you don't have that level of trust and they don't know that you actually care for them as a person, not just a player, they're not going to be as willing to put as much effort into it.
Yeah. Maybe a better way of saying is discipline without relationships equals rebellion. Maybe that's a
Okay,
better.
I like that. I like that better. There you
But
go.
when you discipline with love and with the relationship, then it equals growth. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's definitely a key. And so I don't even know if I asked you this, coach, but how many years have you been in the game now as a coach?
10 years now. So I
Okay.
started, well, it should be 10 years. I started coaching in 2014. And then, yep, 6 years at high school, 4 years. Yeah, so 10 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had to go back 10 years and you could say, find your 22, 23-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself back then, knowing what you know now?
Is love doing the dirty work, love doing the monotonous things like setting up cones and, painting the lines, because all those things are going to create a solid foundation for you to become even a better coach. Like there's a the best coaches that I know in the college game are the ones that went through the grinding as like a GA, as a volunteer, and then work their way up. And they see the whole picture. Like when they ask somebody to paint lines, they actually know how long it takes and what the people need. Like when you're running a program, if you've done all the small things, you kind of have a better sense of where your program is and how long it takes them to get there to where you want to be, instead of just being thrust into, because everyone wants to call plays. That's what every new coach wants to come in and do. Like, oh, I just want to call plays, I just want to do X's and O's. But in order to be the best play caller, you have to do the dirty work of tagging. You have to, because that's probably where I learned the most, is this tagging high school film late, like probably for like Friday night, I would tag the whole game, and then all of our future opponents. I wouldn't finish till 8 a.m., which was our next film. But doing that when I first got in the game was the biggest help for me to develop myself as a coach. So, and that comes from just doing all the small things. Coaches tell you to do something, do laundry, you go do laundry. You're going to learn how to do laundry the best way possible, and then you understand whoever does laundry next, that that's kind of hard to do, and you know how to
Yeah.
develop a relationship with them. So yeah, doing the small things in any little way possible is going to help you develop as being the coach that you want to be in the future.
And just to emphasize this, because I don't want to skip over it real quick. So you said from your Friday night game, you went till 8 a.m. tagging film, right?
So yeah, game finishes at 10 p.m. Or at 9 p.m. And then we start breaking down the film. If you guys don't know Huddle Mercury, before this fast Huddle Mercury was horrible. And even before Huddle, we used Web, which was even worse. So yeah, breaking down film usually took like 4 hours for your own game. And then you do for your future opponents. So that's what I did right when I worked at Weber State, and it was just a flawless transition. Like, oh, I've been doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a long, hard process. I have a coach with me right now, and he can testify. That's what we did. Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah.
broke
Oh
it
yeah.
down from 9 p.m. all the way till film started at 8 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that helps you when you do climb up in the ranks.
Mhm.
Once you have that perspective and you've done everything that all of your guys and staff have already done, then when you get to that top, everybody around you is just going to have so much respect for you,
Yeah.
as opposed to if you just skipped a few rungs on the ladder.
Mhm. Yeah, and when you tell people to do things, they know and understand. Oh, he's done it before. He knows. And you're not going to tell someone to do something impossible because you've done it. You were like, "Hey, can you get the laundry done at this time?" And if you've done the laundry, you know that it actually takes longer than people really think. So they'll have respect for you that way. It's like, "Oh, he actually knows how long it takes because he actually done it before. So I want to do that for you." Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
So over your 10 years, and I know this is probably a tough question. So over your 10 years, if you had to pick out 2 to 3 things that you've learned that will serve you well for your next 20 or 30 years as a coach, what do you think those top 2 to 3 things would be?
The first thing is lean into doing things the hard way, because I kind of just I kind of recognized early on in my coaching that the first thing I wanted to do is usually the easiest, most convenient way, which is always the wrong thing to do. So I was like, okay, don't do that. What you really want to do, just go ahead and do it the hard way. So not taking shortcuts. I know I'm getting lazy right now about some things, and I kind of take shortcuts. But so number one, don't take the shortcut, no matter how easy it might seem, especially with today's day and age with Quizlet and Chat GPT, and there's a method to doing things the hard way, learning. Um, Another thing that I've learned that can help me throughout the future, always know that you're not the smartest guy. You know, always understand, like, go with the mindset that you're the dumbest person and that you have a lot to learn from everybody around you. Even if you've been coaching, for 10 plus years and there's a new coach, there's something you can learn from them. I served an LDS mission, and I remember whenever we drive by, like someone's playing football, and then I always just go stop and go watch. And I got some of my best drills from watching little league coaches. Like, just because the messenger is a little league coach or someone that doesn't have, as much experience as you think, there's always something you can always learn from somewhere or something. So
Yeah. No, I love that, coach. And that's something some of the best coaches that I've heard say. And I think it really holds true because once you get set in a certain way of doing things, the world changes every single day.
mhm.
So you're just gonna get stuck in the past. So you have to be adaptive as a coach and you have to know, like you were saying, you have to have that perspective that I'm not the final say. There's people who know more than me. And when you're able to do that, I think you grow significantly as a coach.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. One example of that is the false step. Maybe I'm going to ruffle some feathers with some people, but for 10 years, I've been coaching no false step. You got to gain ground, you got to be the fastest, most efficient. But taking anatomy classes and watching more clinics and talking to coaches, a false step's not the worst thing in the world. Sometimes it actually helps you gain more momentum quickly, but there's like a bunch of things like that that I'm learning about technique. Because when I first came in, I thought I knew everything, about football. Like, you got to do this way and this way. That's the only way. But coaching is so fluid. There's always different ways how to coach, but it just depends on the athletes that you have, and how much time you want to spend, coaching something. Like, sometimes I spend too much time coaching one thing, looking back, and I talk to those players now. I'm like, hey, remember I told you about this? Yeah, I was wrong. I know I was adamant, but yeah, just always learning and growing.
Yes, sir. Well, love all that stuff, coach. Really appreciate you being on today. And best of luck as you guys continue with the future.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on.